Over 1,000 episodes, 1,400 chapters, 27 years of storytelling, and somehow One Piece is still getting better. If you've been putting it off because of the length, you're missing the greatest adventure in anime history. Here's why you need to start watching right now. Welcome to One Piece Uncovered, where we dive deep into the world's most epic pirate saga. Today we're breaking down the top 5 reasons why One Piece isn't just another long anime. It's a masterpiece that's worth every single episode. Let's get into it. Let's start with something that separates One Piece from every other shonen anime out there. The world building. And I'm not talking about just drawing a map and calling it a day. Eiichiro Oda constructed an entire living, breathing world with its own history, politics, cultures, and mysteries that all connect. Think about it. Most anime give you one kingdom, maybe two rival nations. And that's your setting. One Piece gives you the Grand Line, the New World, the Calm Belt, Sky Islands, Fishman Island, entire civilizations 10,000 meters underwater, islands made of food, islands that are actually giant elephants that have been walking for 1,000 years. But here's where it gets insane. Every single island the Straw Hats visit has its own complete culture, its own history, its own problems. Arabasta isn't just a desert kingdom, it's a nation with a detailed past, a civil war fueled by outside manipulation, and characters whose motivations make complete sense. Dressrosa isn't just a Colosseum arc, it's a country living under a decade of manufactured happiness, with forgotten citizens literally erased from existence. And Oda doesn't just create these places and forget about them. He brings them back. Characters from 400 episodes ago suddenly become relevant again. That throwaway line from Skypiea, it connects to something happening in Wano. That cover story you skipped, it's setting up a major plot point 5 years later. The world of One Piece feels real because it operates with or without Luffy. Other characters are going on their own adventures. Revolutions are happening, wars are brewing, the world doesn't pause when the Straw Hats aren't around. That's the sign of incredible world building. And let's talk about the mysteries. The Void Century, the Will of D, the ancient weapons, the One Piece itself. These aren't just random mysteries thrown in for hype, they're carefully woven into the fabric of the entire story. Every arc adds another piece to the puzzle. Oda planned this from the beginning, and after 27 years, we're finally getting answers. If you love stories where the world feels as important as the characters, where every location matters and every detail connects, One Piece does it better than anyone else in the game. Now let's talk about something One Piece does that catches everyone off guard: the emotional storytelling. On the surface, it looks like a goofy pirate adventure with a rubber man who loves meat. And yeah, that's part of it. But underneath that fun exterior is some of the most devastating emotional storytelling in anime. One Piece doesn't just make you cry, it earns every single tear. The backstories in this series aren't cheap trauma dumped on characters for shock value. They're carefully crafted tragedies that shape who these characters become. Take Robin's backstory. It's not just sad, it's a child watching her entire island get wiped off the map by her own government. It's her mother sacrificing everything to preserve history. It's Robin being branded a demon and hunted for 20 years. Unable to trust anyone, believing she has no right to exist. And then when she finally finds people who accept her, she tries to sacrifice herself because she thinks that's what's best for them. That moment when she screams she wants to live. That hits different because we understand exactly why those words are so hard for her to say. Or look at Brook. Yeah, he's the skeleton who makes skull jokes, but his backstory is 50 years of complete isolation. Watching all his friends die, keeping a promise to a whale for half a century, singing the same song alone in the fog, hoping someone would hear him. That's existential horror wrapped in a comedy character. Senor Pink, a guy who dresses like a giant baby. You'd think he's just a joke character. Then Oda gives him one of the most tragic love stories in the series, and suddenly you're crying over a grown man in a bonnet. This is what One Piece does brilliantly. It balances the humor and the heartbreak perfectly. You'll be laughing at Luffy being an idiot one moment and then sobbing over a burning ship the next. The Going Merry's funeral destroyed an entire generation of fans. We cried over a boat. A boat, because Oda made us care about it. And the themes hit hard too. One Piece explores slavery, racism, government corruption, the cost of war, inherited will, and what it means to be free. It doesn't preach, it shows you these issues through the characters' experiences. The series asks real questions. What does justice mean when the government commits genocide? How do you forgive someone who can't be forgiven? What makes someone a monster? Is it okay to chase your dreams if people get hurt along the way? These aren't light topics. And One Piece handles them with more maturity than most adult dramas. If you think One Piece is just a kid's show about pirates, you're not paying attention. Here's where One Piece absolutely flexes on every other long-running shonen: the character development. And I'm not just talking about the main cast, I'm talking about everyone. Let's start with Luffy. A lot of people think Luffy doesn't develop because he's always smiling and acting carefree. That's surface-level viewing. Luffy starts the series as a kid who thinks being Pirate King just means having the most freedom. He learns the hard way what it costs. Marineford breaks him, completely. He loses his brother right in front of him, and for the first time, we see Luffy question everything. He doesn't bounce back with a smile. He has to be pulled out of despair. And when he comes back, he's different. He's stronger, but more importantly, he understands what he has to protect. He trains for 2 years because he knows he wasn't strong enough. That's growth. Then look at the rest of the crew. Zoro starts as a guy who just wants to be the strongest swordsman. Over time, he becomes the conscience of the crew. He's the one who reminds everyone what it means to follow a future pirate king. That moment in Water 7 when he tells the crew they can't let Usopp back easily. That's not Zoro being cold. That's him understanding what respect and leadership actually mean. Nami goes from someone who hates pirates and only cares about money to someone who draws maps of the world for her crew's journey. Usopp transforms from a coward who runs away to someone who faces down impossible odds because his friends need him. Sanji's entire arc in Whole Cake Island forces him to confront his past and accept that his biological family doesn't define him. But here's the real genius. The villains get development too. Crocodile returns and works with Luffy. Buggy keeps failing upward and becomes an emperor through sheer accident. Katakuri earns Luffy's respect and vice versa. Even characters like Bellamy, who seemed like a throwaway villain, come back and show growth. Oda doesn't throw characters away, everyone matters. That random character from 200 episodes ago. They might show up later with their own story arc. The world feels alive because the characters in it continue to grow and change even when they're not on screen. And the relationships between characters evolve naturally. The Straw Hats don't start as a perfect found family, they earn that bond through shared struggles, they fight, they disagree. Usopp literally leaves the crew for a while, but those conflicts make their reunion and their bond stronger. When they say they'd die for each other, you believe it because you've watched them prove it over and over. Compare that to other long shonen where characters stay static for hundreds of episodes. One Piece respects its characters and its audience enough to let people change. That's why it stays compelling. And speaking of compelling, the next reason might actually be the most important one. Because it's the thing that hooks casual fans and turns them into obsessed theorists. It's the reason people have been analyzing every panel for decades. Stick around. Eiichiro Oda is playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers. The foreshadowing in One Piece isn't just good, it's borderline supernatural. This man has been planting seeds for plot points that don't pay off until 15 years later. And when they finally hit, your mind explodes. Let's talk about Laboon. Back in episode 62, the Straw Hats meet a whale waiting for his crew to return. It's a sweet, sad story. Brook shows up 400 episodes later. He was part of that crew. That's not a retcon. Oda planned that from the start. He introduced a mystery and waited literal years to pay it off. Or how about Sanji's wanted poster? For the longest time, Sanji's bounty poster said only alive instead of dead, or alive like everyone else. Fans joked about it. Then Whole Cake Island happens, and we find out Sanji's biological family is royalty with genetic modifications. That poster detail from hundreds of chapters earlier. It was foreshadowing his entire backstory. The Nika reveal. People went back and found the silhouette from Skypiea that matches Gear 5 Luffy. That was over 20 years ago in our time. Oda drew that panel 2 decades before revealing what it meant. Blackbeard's weird body that lets him have 2 devil fruits, hinted at way back in Drum Island when a throwaway line mentions he has an unusual body. Law's Ope fruit and its connection to the immortality surgery. Set up hundreds of chapters before Doflamingo's flashback. Even small details matter. Cover stories that seem like fun side content end up being crucial to the main plot. Gidatsu falling into a hole in a cover story leads to the discovery of a forest under Arabasta, which connects to the ancient weapons, which ties into the Void Century. This is why the One Piece community is so active. Every chapter, fans analyze every background detail, every character's shirt, every line of dialogue. Because Oda has trained us to know that nothing is accidental. That barrel in the background? Probably important in 200 chapters. The best part is that Oda doesn't foreshadow by being vague. He puts the answer right in front of you, but you don't realize it's the answer until later. It's not cheap mystery box writing, it's genuine setup and payoff. And it's not just plot points. Character relationships and themes get foreshadowed too. The idea of inherited will shows up constantly before it's explicitly named. The concept of freedom versus control runs through every single arc. This level of planning is why people trust Oda. When something seems like a plot hole, fans assume it's actually set up for something later. More often than not, they're right. That's earned trust from 2 decades of consistent storytelling. If you're someone who loves picking apart stories and finding hidden details, One Piece is an endless treasure hunt. No other series rewards rewatch value like this one, and now we get to the real reason, the big one. The reason One Piece has lasted 27 years and captured the hearts of millions worldwide. It's not the fights, it's not the powers. It's not even the mystery of the One Piece itself. It's the message at the core of everything. One Piece is about freedom, and it's about the courage to chase your dreams no matter what the world tells you. Every single member of the Straw Hat crew has a dream that people told them was impossible. Luffy wants to be Pirate King when everyone says the age of pirates is over. Zoro wants to be the greatest swordsman after his rival dies. Nami wants to map the whole world when most of it is uncharted and deadly. Usopp wants to be a brave warrior when he's naturally a coward. Sanji wants to find a sea that might not exist. And the series doesn't tell them to be realistic. It doesn't say dreams are childish. It says if you want something badly enough, if you're willing to risk everything for it, then go get it. The world will try to stop you. You'll fail. You'll get knocked down, but you get back up and keep going. That's why Luffy resonates with so many people. He's not special because of his devil fruit. Plenty of people have powerful abilities. Luffy is special because he never stops believing. When everyone else sees an impossible situation, Luffy sees a challenge. When someone says something can't be done, Luffy does it anyway. And he inspires everyone around him. People who gave up on their dreams meet Luffy and start believing again. Kobe goes from a coward to a marine hero. Vivi finds the strength to save her country. Law learns to trust people again. Katakuri allows himself to take a break and be vulnerable. One Piece tells you that the journey matters more than the destination. Yeah, we all want to know what the One Piece is. But the real treasure is watching Luffy and his crew sail together. It's the bonds they form, the people they save, the lives they change. The series celebrates freedom in every form. Freedom to be yourself. Freedom to chase your dreams. Freedom to choose your own family. Freedom to laugh and cry and live life on your own terms. In a world that constantly tells people to be realistic, to give up, to settle, One Piece says no. Dream bigger. Be unreasonable. Believe in the impossible. And that message hits harder as you get older. It's easy to dream when you're young. It's revolutionary to keep dreaming when life beats you down. That's why grown adults cry watching this series. It's not just nostalgia. It's because One Piece reminds us of the dreams we used to have. And maybe, just maybe, it's not too late to chase them. So yeah, One Piece is over 1,000 episodes, but every single one is building towards something meaningful. Every arc adds another layer. Every character teaches us about courage, friendship, and freedom. So if you've been on the fence about starting One Piece, this is your sign. Jump in, trust the process, and join millions of fans on the greatest adventure in anime. If you're already caught up, drop a comment and tell me your favorite arc. And if this video convinced you to finally start watching, let me know. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more One Piece deep dives. Now here's a question for you. If you could have any character's dream from One Piece, whose would you choose and why? Think about it.